Good afternoon, Sir Richard Branson. My name is NDPesic, founder and CEO of NDPesic Group out of Tallahassee, Florida. I want to begin by saying it is an honor and a privilege to be putting together some paperwork and this video in a package that would be passed on to you by Brian Patrick Coons, also known as Rajesh from Investix out of Miami. He heard what I was doing, and I told him why it was necessary for me to get attention from you. And he was very intrigued, so he asked me to put together some material that he would review and send to you. I am the creator of 10 various product categories affecting 8 different markets. Our first to roll out is our flagship item, which is a mobile medical facility designed to be brought in by helicopter to locations affected by natural disaster. They're all green. There's no operational material as far as like generators. They're all solar powered, and they bring the necessary supplies for each unit. But that's our flagship product. I'll get more with the others, but I wanted to go ahead and just share with you why I'm doing these large projects that I chose to do. I actually have 3 whys. The first is I'm chasing legacy. I want to be remembered for many, many years after I'm gone, as far as developing products that are aiding people in different communities across the world. The second, well, still with the first regarding legacy, is, I want to author my existence. I want to be known that I did something good in this world after I'm gone. Something, that I'd love for my son to be proud of, and for him to extend, the information and the struggles that I've went through to get to this point, to his children and his grandchildren one day. So yes, I want to author my existence of the time that I'm here. The second why of why I'm doing what I'm doing is I feel that it's our duty and responsibility and our obligation to bring out to the world items that will benefit people across vast areas of our globe. I've jumped many hurdles to get to this point, so just like any entrepreneur, we've all had, our difficulties and our challenges to get here. But once you go through the material, you'll understand why I'm seeking attention from, you, Elon Musk, Gary Vaynerchuk, Brian Johnson, the founder of Braintree, who's working with Colonel, and Cole Hatter, who's working with Thrive and his real estate business. So the 5 of you guys are very, very important in what I'm doing, and it won't take much time of your day-to-day lives to assist me to get there. I figured the 5 of you guys together could catapult us in execution much quicker, so we could go ahead and aid folks that needed rapidly. And then finally, the third is redemption. That's a why. You see, during my darkest times in my life, I've pushed away and hurt people that really cared about me and such. So I figure if I could help people across the globe on large levels, that maybe I'll be redeemed for the people that love me and I pushed away. So those are the 3 whys of what I'm doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing. 10 various product lines affecting 8 different markets. I've laid them all out in years. So the first year is our flagship product, obviously our mobile medical facilities. I will put together a few pictures in the paperwork that I'll be sending you as well. The reason the 5 of you are so important is because, look, we're all writing our life's playbook. There's a purpose that each one of you have. So in my life's blueprint, my life's playbook, it's vital and to bring on the characters in my playbook. You see, year one will be our Friends Project, which are first response emergency needs dispatch shelters. When you see the pictures that I'll be adding to the material I'm sending you, you'll see how vital and important it plays based on the things that happened just this summer alone. We've had Hurricane Irma, we've had Hugo in Houston, so we've had the earthquake in Mexico. Let's put it like this. Each area that's affected that is still destroyed, we could still, till this day, even if they were even ready now, we'd be able to assist many in these areas. Puerto Rico, Florida, Houston, Mexico, that's just this summer alone. And I don't even want to mention the fires out in California, where we could be of assistance to people that are being evacuated, and for them to have a place to sleep, a place to be taken care of, a place where they could hold out until they could get back home. That's our first product. Our second in year two would be our housing concept. I have recreated and I am bringing back to life the famous mid-century modern home back from 1951, designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, which is the Farnsworth House. I've modernized it. I've made some changes to it. The beauty part about it is that was the first project that I put together back in 2003, 2005, in that time span there. What's interesting about that home is the unique aspect of it is a home that could be disassembled and relocated to a new location. What we're looking to do in year two is when we build our corporate offices, we are going to go ahead and build 2 units, different floor plans based on square footage and lot size. So those are the 2 that we're going to build on our land, and one will be our corporate office, the other will be my personal home. What we're doing is I have created and been self-taught in working with concrete and polymer resins, and being that I've created my own designs regarding cabinetry, flooring, bathroom fixtures and such, that our corporate office would be a sort of a showcase. So not only is it our corporate office, but it's also a showing point. I do have a very good friend of mine who is a real estate broker, who I will be choosing to go ahead and set up to show the homes. And the interesting thing on top of all that is that you see, I love high-end design, and one of the things that I've done is when I put the figures together as far as what it would cost with off-shelf materials such as vessel sinks, cabinetry from retail stores, concrete countertops and such, that the actual interior wound up costing almost 4 times more than the actual steel structure itself. So what I've done is I've learned, studied, tested, worked with various materials. I love R&D. R&D was fantastic. And I came to find that I'll be manufacturing all the interiors of each of the homes that we sell. So we will become a plan, design, build facility where homeowners will come in, see, and choose their own colors, and we could go ahead and manufacture, send everything to them once they're built out of our facility. Now, our corporate office will be about 10 to 15 acres, and what we're doing is we're going to have 3 5,000 square foot workshops. The land, the workshops, the materials are all relatively inexpensive up here in this area, so by putting everything together on our property, we have more control over the building of items, the creation of different designs, without the expenditure of having an outside facility. Because up in here, up in this area, $5 per square foot on warehouses, 20,000 square feet, and I don't want to go ahead and spend that kind of money for somebody else. I'd rather go ahead and build stuff on my own land, and that way we have more control of what's going on. The reason I'm picking those other gentlemen to be a part of the investors, and that's what I need. I need investors, and I figure because I'm a nobody in a sense, the risk is high. We all know we all know how the game is played. So, to have multiple people with expertise in certain little areas that could benefit us, that's great. Less out of pocket for you guys, and but a greater return on the end. So, like Gary Vee is the best in social media. So if we bring him in as a partner, I could go ahead and have a reduction of the initial cost. They could do certain percentage over expenses, to where they don't lose money, but they get it back at the end of the year, or quarterly. I'm sorry. However you guys want to play it out. I'm looking at initially needing $2 million, and I'm offering 40% return to you guys because I'm a nobody and the risk appears to be high. But out of that, with only $2 million up front, I also don't want to be gouged on price. So better to have, say, Gary, Elon as investors as opposed to vendors. That'll save me a lot of money, and I'll have operating costs until things, get developed. So, regarding in year 2, setting up our corporate office, we're looking at 10 to 15 acres. And what I want to do, and this is where Elon is again important, because with the Friends project, they're solar operated units. So his new shingles that he created will actually be saving us like 600 pounds of weight, simply because don't need the whole frame. The shingles alone will go ahead and provide the power needed to operate and run each one of the mobile medical facilities. In year 2, when we set up our corporate office, I'm looking to dedicate about 2.5 acres, and be the first up in this area to have a solar farm that operates the corporate office, my home, and the 3 workshops. So again, right there, by using him as a vendor, paying top dollar for his batteries and solar panels, it could get quite pricey, obviously, but being a partner, they could assist us in doing things better, just like you would assist me in doing something better just through a simple conversation and, not taking up too much of any one of y'all's time. So, that's year 2. Year 3, and I wanted to do something for infrastructure, and I've researched, and with the idea that I had, mine actually seems a little bit more cost effective and efficient. And what I want to do is I want to build better roadways. I want to build roadways in areas that are affected by harsh winters, and where cities shut down due to snow on the roads. Well, I found a more economical and efficient way to melt snow on highways. That way, one, we could eliminate deaths on the roadways, but on the flip side, we could go ahead and businesses and factories and corporations and various offices could remain open during those times, because now we could increase productivity for them by getting people to and from work. So that's an interesting one. That's the last one I just put together. And after studying, everybody's doing solar, like a solar roadway, which is fantastic. The battery charging lanes, I think, is a phenomenal idea. I can't compete with those guys. But once again, those are usually the solar is roadways There's a few that are looking to do in the Northeast right now, but from what I'm reading, it looks like they're just dedicating 1 or 2 lanes. The charging roads are only 1 lane dedicated, but regardless, there's 4 to 5 lanes on the highways up, through the United States, as you know. So we aren't really kicked off to the side of the curb, because even though we have those, there's still 3 other lanes that are left where we could make an impact. So in these 3 first years, each of those products we are anticipating disrupting those actual industries, because we have far better products, more cost-effective ways of doing things, and we also want to inspire. There's not through my own story of struggle and perseverance, but in the sense of we want to inspire those that are afraid to take that first step, to make their dreams come true. Because I got to tell you, it's been a long road, it's been tough, but you know what? It's all worth it. It's all worth it. So if we could even just influence one individual to go ahead and break out of their shell, who knows what they can bring to the market. Something phenomenal, something unbelievable. And if we are the ones to affect those individuals in that way, I think we're on a great track, not just with the products, but with getting people to realize their potential, to get up and do, regardless of the naysayers and the people that are giving them a hard time of thinking outside the box. So, but one of the things, as far as the return on the $2 million that we need up front, the $2 million is actually dedicated to the build of the Friends Project, the flagship product. Everything between legal, location, the initial factory worth, 6 months worth of, rental fees on a 20,000 square foot unit. That's actually costs more than the actual prototypes of the Friends units. But an interesting thing regarding marketing wise and bringing in the dollars, I wound up getting the idea that once the units are built, obviously we were given attention by the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation. They really like what we were doing. The American Red Cross, they said the same thing. The problem was that they need a working prototype in order to dedicate any orders, which I completely agree. Okay. But nobody would go ahead and fund me in that way. So my mentor, Richard Moore, out of the UK, out of England, he's from England. He was the one that told me at the beginning of this year, because I've been chasing venture capitals, and those guys just are concerned about the numbers, but not so much of the cause and the purpose behind each one of the project, which you guys would understand. So he was the one that recommended that I go ahead and connect with you guys. Let's have a talk. I'll show you what we're doing. That way you could make the decision there. But the $2 million would be all really expenses for the first year. The 2 prototypes will be for $400,000 between legal, accounting, and then we've got writing up the patents for it. Just the whole kit and caboodle comes up to right about 18.5, and you figure any incidentals, it comes out, 1.8. You figure with any incidentals and so forth, we're right at the 2 million mark. So with that said, right when we get funded, if we get together, it's pretty much going to be this. We're immediately going to go ahead and begin outside of the build, we're going to be getting in touch with Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. We want to go ahead and ask them for a 5-episode miniseries in the build of our units. And I know some would say, well, why would somebody want to go ahead and make a TV show out of this? Well, it's for several reasons. One, for the inspiration to others. Two, it's, being of service to one another. We as a society have forgot how to feel. So with that said, it's kind of bringing back humanitarianism, compassion, integrity, doing good for your fellow man instead of bringing them down. So we felt that 5-week would be an interesting little segment all the way up to the unveiling party in the last episode. That which will also go ahead and open up the doorway for us to do a half season in the following year in the building of our home project. But that's just on the entertainment side. But on marketing to get an immediate return for my investors, not through sales, you guys would help me get in touch with a list of 20 individuals, 20 companies that I have on paper. I could get 3 or 4 of them through my channels, but I was like, well, we need to go ahead and get a return so I could go ahead and build, get enough revenue to where I could pay you guys back, but then at the same time, I need to go ahead and have capital to go ahead and build the corporate office in the second year, to go ahead and start putting together, the other projects into play. So the way I figured to do that was, if I go ahead and to generate sales for the Friends Project, we were going to go ahead and travel to 4 various trade shows to go ahead and show our units, to go ahead and invite different NGOs. We also want to sell them to the states, individual states here in the U.S. as well as overseas, but that way we could go ahead and bring governors on over, hey, we're going to be at this trade show, we'd like for you to join us, be a VIP, with us, and, show our products to generate sales. So I figured, well, if we're going to be traveling across the country to 4 different trade shows, I said, I thought about it, and I said, well, the best way to go ahead and do it is if we go ahead and sell spots, advertising spots, sponsorship spots on our units for a year and a half, because this is what gave me the idea. In NASCAR, the hood ad on the hood is from $5 million to $35 million for 1 year, and that's just the hood. So with that being said, we want to go ahead and do $1 million or $1.5 million per spot. Our units are 3 feet tall in their compressed state. So I put together 20 spots for that are 3 feet tall, 7 feet long. So when the units are being transported on the back of a tractor trailer, you'll be able to see all the sponsors' logos. So even though those people in NASCAR charge between $5 million and $35 million, what we were going to go ahead and do is do $1 to $1.5 million for a year and a half for our sponsors as we travel the United States and provide service for, different agencies, do presentations for them, have everything videotaped, obviously, and recorded and put up on social media, on our television show and so forth. So it's exciting times, and there are a couple that would definitely fit the bill. Fit that scenario, that they would obviously like to do something like that. So with that kind of cash, I figured if we do $1 million per, that's $20 million within 10 months, and I could go ahead and give you your 40%, and it'll leave me 12 to go ahead and start building my empire. If we do $1 million, 1.5 for the year and a half per sponsor, then that'll generate us 30 million. You guys will get 12 back, so that'll give me 18 million to play with. So it's a little bit more cushion, and the guys that I'm looking to have as a sponsor would definitely fit in the scope, because just like any marketing, people tag their company logo on there sponsorship wise because they believe in what they're doing, and that's all we need to do is convince those folks. The fact that if I get 5 of you guys together, we could things will happen quicker. So to implement all this by myself, yeah, it'll be fine. Of course, there'll be some hurdles and stuff because I'm nobody. But if the way I told Brian was this, we need attention. We need retail consumer attention. If somebody was to walk by a newsstand and see the 5 of you guys, and it says Branson, Musk, Vaynerchuk, Johnson, and Cole Hatter unleash the lion, I think people are going to stop and say, okay, what happened here? And that's exactly where we want the eyes of the consumer. And then at that point, we could go ahead and tell folks, exactly what we're doing. Just to give you an idea, and the many friends that have connected with me on Facebook and through social media, after hearing everything that I've wanted to do, they've actually referred me to as mini Elon. So that's definitely a compliment to me, because he is doing wonderful things, and I'd like to think that we're doing some great things. But some of the projects that these guys are working on are 4 or 5 years out. We could go ahead and have an immediate impact on the globe within a year, a year and a half. We could be like all over the place. So I hope you consider this. I hope I hope this is something that you would choose to pursue, because the world needs us. We have some great things that we want to contribute to our time that's left with us, on this plane. And I couldn't think of anybody else that would fit the size projects that we're doing than the 5 of you guys. So again, thank you so very much for this time, and I do hope that we connect in the near future. I'd love to sit down in a room with you, get a little bit more detail on things, and then move forward. So thank you very much once again. It's been an honor and a privilege. You have a wonderful evening, and I do hope to hear from you soon. You could also find me on the different channels. I'm on NDPesic Group. That's N as in Nancy, D as in dog, P as in Peter, E, S as in Sam, I, C. So I've tagged you along with the other 4 on Twitter on a couple of posts. But feel free to go to Twitter, see what I'm doing. Facebook, I'm on as Deuce Pesic. That's DEUCEPESIC. I do have a Facebook page for NDPesic Group as well, but I don't work out of that a lot yet, simply because, if I'm to go ahead and document what's going on, for the last 3-4 years, I'd be saying, well, I'm documenting, searching for money again. So, and, that just gets old, especially when I wasn't that, I was more green than I am today. So, the best thing I could say is we've got good things going, and we just need the right people to help us out. Have a wonderful evening. I do hope to hear from you this week. And that's NDPesic Group on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. On YouTube, I have some old videos that I did, as far as like content stuff, but I'm a little bit raw because that was like 2 years ago, and didn't have the experience I have today as far as doing these mini clips. So thank you very much. Have a great evening. Hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and hope to be able to connect with you real soon. Thank you.